Grand evening. I've only got 45 minutes on my phone left. It's literally at night. So I'm going to try to make this one as short as possible. This is going to be my January entry. And since January has happened, a lot has already popped off this month. I noticed that I have a speaking voice. It is a voice that I use when I'm talking to you guys. This video won't be in the normal position that I have the phone in, which is a portrait. When I started recording, I was laying down in landscape. So, however this happens is how you're gonna get it. I happen to be holding it in portrait right now, though, and this is more or less so I would like it to be for the podcast than anything. But because I upload all the videos that I do, because I record the videos, and then I upload the podcast, it's kind of a double whammy, which is why I'm giving some semblance of a thing. But I also know that's going to be distracting as F, because the video will upload like this. Again, I'm really just here for the conversation. A little tired. Hadn't talked for the last 6 hours, but to anyone, because I got back from doing chores and tasks. I kind of just laid here for a bit. Got a lot of what I think was stuff done today, so I gave myself some respite. It's good. It's good and healthy. Thanks. I appreciate it. On the East Coast, it's already 1 o'clock in the morning. And somewhere else in the world, it's already the 1st of February. So you guys won't be getting this until February 1st. But for the West Coast, it is still, depending on how long it takes to post this, it is still January. And I wanted to recap on January and how my January has gone and how I have been afflicted and how I've kind of come across that. But again, I'm doing it fairly fast because my phone only has 45 minutes of recording space. I am doing my fucking best right now to make sure that it's something I can remove and move data from this device. But I'm having some trouble with that. I'm having some trouble with getting the data to where I want it. And that's fine. I'll deal with that. Anyways, back to my January, or at least something around about my January. I didn't have I didn't have a New Year's resolution, because January 22nd is New Year's for Chinese New Year's. Ooh, something is really trying to confirm some stuff. I didn't have a New Year's resolution, so I didn't come into this quote-unquote time frame. I don't monitor this years the same way that you guys monitor the years. I didn't even know it was January for most of January. I knew, kinda, but I wrote December a lot. And I was still watching stuff from September, so. Time. It does a thing. Read some Sean Carroll books. You see what I'm talking about, but that's neither here nor there. There's many more authors who kind of talk about it. Back to my perspective, though, because we're 3 minutes into this video. 4 minutes? We're 4 minutes into this video. I've got roughly 45 minutes. I'm really trying to get across, my experience for this month without selling anyone out or putting anyone under the bus or doing anything. So I'm really going to talk about my perspective. I'm really going to talk about my experience. I'm really going to talk about what I learned about myself. You're literally not made for everybody. And there are those who will want you, and they cannot handle you because they have not been able to handle themselves yet. And what I learned about myself was that I still have caregiver mentality sometimes. I still live under the imposter syndrome by these. I'm using these. I wish I had closed caption. I wish I do closed caption. I'm not going to sit back and type all this, but if I ever get closed caption, I'm going to put quotes around. Put quotes around all of these phrases and these turn of phrases and these labels, because they're just identifiers that society has come up with thus far. And being myself is being anyone's self, being one with the universe, following your intuition, going with the flow, letting go of what doesn't work for you. That's it's a constant dance of balance. And at some point in time, the universe decided to make me solid. Not solid, SALSOLID. I'm thick. I'm thick with extra C's out here. And so balancing this thing that I haven't had for like, gosh, trying to find, again, trying to put some quotes on that. Trying anything is garbage. You never have to try to be successful at anything. You're always going to be successful at whatever it is that was made for you. Actually, yeah, my neck is tired. Okay, let's see. Is this better? No, this is the way. This is the way, Mandalorian. Okay. So I made a couple TikToks prior to this point in time. I make them rather infrequently, but you don't have to try. And when we really get to that that seeding point in us where being our authentic selves and not portraying I might fall asleep recording this video. Being our authentic selves and not portraying some particular type of standpoint. It's all pretend to begin with. Let's start with that. And I know most people don't like to admit that or try to acknowledge that everything that we do is a presentation of manipulation, because our desire for a tribe, our desire for connection, our desire for love, our desire for understanding allows us to present in this way. Gang members get together because they are cold-blooded killers, quote unquote, or they are willing to do what it takes to stay in the gang. Cops get together because they're willing to do whatever they have to do. People go to law school, people go to college for degrees to become collegians. Bakers bake, takers take. Those people group together because they have learned that they can get their needs met through a certain action. And that's what any of us are doing. Any of us are just trying to get our needs met. And yeah, sometimes it's hard as nails. It's difficult to fathom that we're actually going to make progress in the scenario that we're dealing with that is uncomfortable for us. I was just talking to a partner that we agreed to take some space and sort out some stuff so that we could rationalize what experiences we want to share with each other when we come back to one another, if we decide to come back to one another, because there's always that chance that that's not what will align us. And either we will be successful at that approach or we will not be successful in the approach. Or rather, I would rather think of it in this way. I would rather have the knowledge that we are going to be successful at whatever is aligned with us versus having an expectation that we will come together or not. We have agreed to meet at a indicated time. And that also, that's also possibly not going to happen. The universe is fraught with chaos, and we decide that we think that we can control it in some ways, shape, or form, most of our days. Yeah, my chats really have evolved since I started raving and ranting back in 2021. I don't know who has been here for the entire duration, but there's a level of consistency that comes with kind of finding my own voice and not feeling the need to have my experience be the control of my situation, be in control of my situation. And that's still rather difficult because I do experience things and I experience them in a very real way. And while I experience them in a very real way, um, I know that I attracted that. And kind of coming to terms with the fact that I'm attracting the things that I'm experiencing because of a lack of belief, a lack of knowledge, rather, because belief says that I don't know, so it's a lack of me not knowing, but it's a lack of knowledge. So I know a great many things. I don't know everything. I know a great many things. I don't know everything. I often enough say, I know nothing and nothing knows me, is one of my default sayings, because I understand the call of the void, um, to self-terminate, to unalive myself in the regard of physical presence. And I also understand that from the egoic sense, where one is losing who they have created as a character in this life to become a person that is, um, um, to not be a person anymore, actually, to just allow the universe, the God, deity, the being to exist within the space, to kind of like come over and allow for health and wealth, um, to be present with that, to give um, gratitude, sorry, I was saying grace and gratitude to the fact that you're even in a situation where you're not struggling to learn that presentation. Um, a lot of us struggle to learn our presentation. A lot of us struggle to learn what it is that we need to be. There are some people who are successful in the caricature that they were told that they have to be. You know, there's a lot of alpha males running around. There's a lot of strong women running around, quote unquote. There's a lot of trans men running around. There's a lot of trans women running around. There's a lot of non-binary cats running around, you know, MBs. There's a lot of labels being tossed around so that we can tell ourselves that we're comfortable in these vessels, and so that we can accept where our body lies in these vessels. And um, I was getting with the idea that I am getting with the idea or the practice of um, acknowledging that there are so many things that people get from me being myself. If you've been following me long enough, you know I don't ascribe to the terminologies presented to us by psychology and psychiatric field of mental disorders or um, autism. I think all mental disorders and all levels of spectrum on the tism are trauma responses. And I argue that, and I argue it very strongly. And whether I can give you words verbatim or quotes from annotation, I can give you lived experience, and I can recall experience after experience of not only myself, but patients, clients, lovers of the past, prior engagements with friendship, and meetings with people that can hold a strong testament to how we are all traumatized, and the trauma response that we have is what we do. Um, I don't think that I don't understand social cues. I think that I'm not really big into dishonest behaviors in social interactions. I would rather have an uncomfortable, truthful experience, embracing that this is uncomfortable for us or myself or those experiencing it, and allot them the autonomy to feel what it is that they feel. And I have been locked under the scrutiny of not being able to feel what I feel. And recently, with this last partner that we're going to break, I have been given the opportunity to feel what I feel. I acknowledge that I don't enjoy chasing people. I don't enjoy asking for love. I don't enjoy begging for attention. I don't enjoy seeking people out. I spent years alone. So whenever I offer myself up to someone as a commitment to a relationship, to acknowledge that I have to chase them, it often would tell me prior to this point in time that they were not ready to engage. And what I got as a lesson is I have high expectations of people to engage in a way that they are not familiar with engaging. I can give you a book on astrophysics. I can give you a book on quantum mechanics. I can give you a book on quantum theory. And at 7 a.m., that's just because we're using an example, and then by 12, I can come back and be like, well, what did you learn? And you're going to fumble on what you learned unless you're a speed reader and have, like, what is it called? Didactic memory, where you can just take photos of everything you've seen. I can't remember what the actual term for it is, but and then memorizing a thing isn't actually putting a thing into practice. It would have to be applied through experience and practice before one can gauge it. Now, reading a thing, and some people does offer an opportunity, but it also comes with an experience. So again, I digress. I digress wholeheartedly because, like, pardon me, I digress wholeheartedly because, like, there's a lot of the time that we, I guess I should talk about myself, but there's a lot of time that we take for granted that there are external forces that we're not actually able to witness, even though we can experience them, but by witness of the two eyes for seeing, looking, two eyes for looking, and the one eye for seeing, we're not able to perceive a great many things. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, ancestors. I appreciate your spirit. I appreciate your universe. There are a great many things that we're not able to facilitate space for. As no matter what we want, it's not fathomable that we will be able to engage with it in the way that we desire so. Because the universe doesn't recognize desires; it recognizes the thought. So intention, and then it's like, who's that guy's name? He was a boxer. He's not a boxer anymore. George Foreman. George Foreman made the little oven thing, and set it and forget it was what it was called. And it's a grill. I think it was like an oven. And set it and forget it is just like, oh, the most perfect intention experience I can think of, because you literally just go, all right, enter object, enter space, enter field, enter money amount, enter word here, and then you tell the universe that that's what your heart desires, and then you go behave like it's coming, and then it shows up, and it's for you, and everything works out so that it gets that way. And I have such amazing luck with that. Like, I have been taken care of my whole life. I've really had this wonderful opportunity of experiencing. I am so wonderfully taken care of. I appreciate you. Also, to those who don't enjoy me, I would like you to remember that all the things that you put out as far as energy have to return to you. So I will just let you have that and hold on to it with admiration. The universe has always made sure that I was okay. The universe has always made sure that I've had all of my needs met. All my needs, not my wants, my needs. Because wants are a desire that says that I don't have the thing, so I don't think I can have the thing. There's other thoughts that go along with it. I don't think I deserve that thing. There are other thoughts that go with that I don't think I can handle that thing. Like, I want a family so bad, and my experience with children has been that someone has taken them from me. So every time that I've come even close to having a family, I thought that I didn't deserve it. I wanted a family so bad, and my experience with my actual birth members' families has been so. Every time that I think I'm going to establish a family, I think I'm going to lose it. And I got to experience that again in a similar way. A pattern reoccurred where I wasn't self-destructive, but I thought that because they weren't doing what they were saying, because I ignored their red flags, because I was asking for a particular behavior set that was explained to me that it existed in them, I am experiencing loss. And loss is painful, and I am okay with that. I'm okay with experiencing this loss. I'm okay with having the absence of. I'm okay with understanding that I am always fulfilled. I am always within myself. I am never alone. Whether it be my thought of angels, spiritual guides, deities, coverage, ancestors, the universe, the God, be whatever it may be that facilitates the space that I'm never by myself. That exists to me as a knowledge. And I wanted to kind of update you on my January because enough of you guys listen. Many things are happening in a positive manner. Many things are happening in a way that offers me a great deal of comfort. But on top of that, it gives me a great deal of space to grow. While I'm unfamiliar with a great many of the places that I'm stepping, while I'm stepping on and into new pathways that, again, I myself have had no familial experience with. None of my family has done this particular course of action and spoken to me about it. I don't have any mentors in this regard. Uh, and I think a lot of my life has been that way. Is that it? I don't think I've had the experience with a lot of my life living. I don't know anyone that wants to be the person that I want to be until I start being it, and then I start meeting people that want to be the thing that I want to be, such as a farmer, such as a foster care parent, um, in a house. Many people in transition. I don't know anyone like that. So I have to create the space. And it was difficult. It is difficult in the regard of aligning myself with the knowledge that I can do something that I've never done. Aligning myself with the knowledge that I am capable of doing something I've never done. Aligning myself in the knowledge that this position that I'm thinking of was created for me. Steve Harvey says something like, "Why do you think that you dream big?" You know, like why? Or I think maybe it's Les Brown as well. Again, these two guys are like kind of inspirational to me because they both came from this place where they didn't have anything and they've gone through strife, and then the universe still looked out for them. Wayne Dyer, you know, there are other people in the world that exist that practice the same kind of facilitation through thought. But I'm kind of living from this. It's a very sobering thought, even in my own sobriety. Ha 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 ha. Because I don't use any intoxicants outside of food, and I guess one of the things I might be addicted to is this device that I'm on right now because I'm recording this video and talking to myself for an extended amount of time. But with that being said, I'm sober as far as like intoxication, and so there's no auto relief for me. There's no instant gratification. I lose, and when I lose big because there's nothing that can fix it easily. I don't get a drink. I don't get to go smoke. And what herbs I do use aren't for physical pain. They are medicine, and they are spiritual. They don't elevate my brain at all. I get no high mentally from it outside of the lack of oxygen. They are offering, because my body is a temple, they are essentially an internal incense of cleansing and washing out a spirit or spirits that I feel as though has touched on me, an energy that has come into my palace. I am letting the breeze run through on a rainy day after, I don't know, I haven't gotten the rest of that visual. It was actually like a sacrifice, and death has a smell, so on a rainy day it would carry a breeze to remove the smell from wherever my inner palace would be. Because again, we started with talking about the ego deaths and talking about the absence. Well, we didn't start there, but part of the conversation was self-termination, and I do that very frequently. I no longer have the ideations to process myself in that regard, but at least physically, but mentally it happens quite frequently. I constantly go through a death of some sort where this vessel is reminded that it is a vessel. It is a vassal. It is holding me. It is not me. And once I remind it that it is not me, once I reinitiate the thought that the vassal holding me is not me and does not permeate my life as me, and the people that enjoy me are enjoying the energy that expounds outside of the vessel. Getting to be sad, getting to be angry with another person shocked me. It reminded me that I am constantly in a state of fight or flight. I am always prepared. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned this year, is recognizing how intense my survival response is, because of how frequently I've been manipulated, how often I have been lied to, how consistently people have wanted to mislead me, how I have perceived people's inabilities to keep giving me the truth as a falseness to their ability. Again, someone will ask you for $1 million, someone will win the lottery, someone will come up on a jet and not know how to take care of it. I can't say that I'm not crying right now. I'm just not boo-hooing verbally. I am still, my nose is running and tears are coming out of my eyes. So I'm grateful I didn't get up and turn the light on, because I'd be a blubbering fool right now to you guys, at least leaking water-wise. And so yeah, while I don't get sad all the time in the way that everyone else does, because I process very fast, I'll be past this pretty fast too. I'll acknowledge that I had an experience that was slightly uncomfortable, and then I will process through it, and people go, "Oh, you're suppressing your emotions," and I will express very clearly, "No, I don't agree with that. I'm very in tune with myself, and I like to acknowledge the things that I can work on, while allowing the space for my emotion to be there, but I don't necessarily have to display it." And so many of us are so traumatized in the relationships that we grew up in, and the toxic behaviors of our parents or our abusers of past relationships on, is that we expect that language sometimes. We expect people to be abusive. And so the universe gives us that. It's a manifestation. It's a intention. It is the law of attraction. It is the law of assumption. And if you continue to practice it, then you'll continue to recognize / understand that what's happening in your life is something you want to happen. And I've understood now that is, I get to be soft. I get to be soft. And I think I want to end this talk there. No, I'm good. I get to end this talk there. This is kind of like a journal entry. I'm gonna start calling these like journal entries. You guys are like reading my journal. This is my journal. I have no intentions on self-harming myself or taking myself out of this equation physically. I don't even have any inklings of it. But mentally, there's definitely a suppression occurring frequently on a daily basis of, is the person that I'm being today the person that I want to be at the end of this year, or the person I want to be tomorrow, or the person I want to be in the next 5 minutes? And for a while I was getting really bitter and numb. And now I'm allowing myself to remind myself that being happy isn't a fault, regardless of how many people are uncomfortable by my unrelenting, pure happiness, without regard to like what their scenario is. I get to be happy, and I can practice that all the time. Be safe. Always, always. All is well, regardless if I enjoy it or not. I want you to leave knowing that you get to choose whether you enjoy something or you don't enjoy something. And we can translate this really easily with an example that says that the word nigga is categorized as a word that means ignorant black person. And the Ethiopians never being colonized, um, the word to them means royalty. Negus means royalty. So if you ever hear it, you're royalty. Yes, I know what the intention behind the word is, but I'm always going to be able to translate that the same way that I translate all English through a sign language filter, but you guys don't see me signing waving my hands around all the time when I'm talking. Again, I love you, Bear, and those watching here, and I hope you guys are all well. Be safe.